Unlock the secrets of better days through the meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Imagine this: you're standing at the edge of chaos. Everything you once held together now slipping through your fingers. A relationship, career, your sense of purpose, whatever it is. It feels like life itself is unraveling. And in that moment, you find yourself asking, how can I stop this storm within me? Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled not just an empire but also his turbulent mind, might whisper across the centuries, it's not outside events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. We hold the power, not the world around us. What if the key to your better days lies not in changing your circumstances but in unlocking the way you see and respond to them? As we delve into Marcus's meditations, we will walk through the most transformative principles of Stoicism, ideas born in the midst of power struggles, battles, and unimaginable stress, yet astonishingly relevant to our lives today. Let's begin by asking, what if the peace you're chasing has been with you all along? We all face a relentless barrage of challenges, unmet expectations, relentless to-do lists, social pressures. Marcus did too. He was not a cloistered philosopher scribbling away in solitude, but a man grappling with betrayal, plagues, war, and the weight of ruling millions. His meditations were not written for the world but for himself, a private journal where he wrestled with his mind. Much like we do today, Marcus invites us to consider the dichotomy of control, a cornerstone of Stoic thought. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's break that down. Think of a time you were angry because someone criticized you. What were you truly reacting to? Was it their words, or was it your interpretation of those words? The Stoics teach that external events are neutral. It's our judgment that paints them with emotion. Marcus challenges us. What are you holding on to right now that's outside your control? Maybe it's an argument you had last week, the fear of an uncertain future, or even the compulsion to scroll endlessly through social media. Now imagine releasing those chains. What would freedom feel like? But this isn't a passive philosophy. Stoicism is about engaging with life fully, with clarity and purpose. Marcus writes, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This is your wake-up call. Think of the energy you expend worrying about the opinions of others, the outcomes of situations, the unattainable standards you've set for yourself. What if you channeled that energy into what you can control, your actions, your words, your thoughts? I remember a friend who once applied this principle in a critical moment. She was in the midst of a career crisis, devastated by a rejection that felt like a judgment on her worth. But instead of spiraling, she asked herself, what can I control here? The answer was simple yet profound: her effort to grow, to try again, to persist despite the setback. Today, she's thriving in a career beyond her wildest dreams. Marcus reminds us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't meant to depress you. It's meant to wake you up. If this day, this hour, this moment were your last, would you spend it worrying about things you cannot control? Or would you embrace it, fully and intentionally? Take a deep breath with me. Feel the air filling your lungs, the rhythm of life itself. This moment is yours. Now, let's pause for a thought experiment. Imagine Marcus Aurelius standing beside you today, scrolling through your life like a social media feed. What would he see? How much of your time is spent in mindless distractions, in anger over things you can't change, in longing for a future that isn't here yet? Marcus would ask you, is this what you want to show for your life? As we move forward, we'll explore how to apply these principles to create better days, no matter the storms around you. But before we continue, let me leave you with a challenge. For the next 24 hours, whenever you find yourself overwhelmed or frustrated, ask yourself this simple question: is this within my control? And if it isn't, let it go. The mind's fortress, building resilience amid life's storms. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself in a fortress. This is no ordinary fortress, it's built of your thoughts, your beliefs, your inner strength. The walls are high and sturdy, impervious to external forces. Inside, you are untouchable. But here's the catch. This fortress doesn't guard you against the world. It guards you against yourself. Marcus Aurelius spent his life building such a fortress in his mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength isn't about overpowering the world. It's about mastering yourself. But let's be honest. Life tests us. Sometimes, it feels like the walls of that fortress are crumbling. Maybe it's a betrayal from someone you trusted, a failure that cuts deep, or the relentless grind of everyday stress. How do you rebuild when life breaks you down? I once heard a story about a woman who lost everything in a fire, her home, her belongings, her memories. When I asked her how she coped, she said, "The fire took my house, but it couldn't touch my soul. I focused on what I still had, my mind, my will, my gratitude." This is the essence of Stoicism. It's not about denying pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about reframing adversity as an opportunity to grow. Marcus reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think about that for a moment. What if every obstacle in your life was not a roadblock but a stepping stone? Imagine you're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. Frustration bubbles up, and your mind starts spiraling. Why is this happening to me? Why today? Now pause. Is the traffic within your control? No. But what is? Your reaction. You could use that time to practice mindfulness, reflect on your goals, or even listen to an audiobook that inspires you. Marcus teaches us that our perception is everything. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Now, let's take this deeper. Imagine losing something or someone you deeply love. The pain feels unbearable, like a part of you has been torn away. Marcus faced this too. He lost children, faced betrayal from friends, and lived in a constant state of war. Yet he wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart." This isn't about suppressing grief. It's about embracing life's impermanence and cherishing the fleeting moments we have. Every day, every breath is a gift. The Stoics call this memento mori, remember you will die. It's not a morbid thought, but a call to live fully, to appreciate the present moment without clinging to what cannot last. Ask yourself, if I truly accepted the impermanence of life, how would I live differently? Would you hold grudges? Or would you forgive more freely? Would you dwell on your fears? Or would you take that leap you've been avoiding? Resilience, Marcus teaches, is not about being unshaken by life storms. It's about bending without breaking, like a tree in the wind. Consider his metaphor. Does the cucumber taste bitter? Then throw it out. Are there brambles in your path? Then go around them. That's all you need to know. Simple, right? Yet how often do we complicate our lives by dwelling on bitterness? By cursing the brambles instead of finding another way? Here's an exercise for you. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, what is the simplest way to move forward? Focus on what you can do, not on what you wish were different. A close friend once applied this during a crushing breakup. Instead of obsessing over what went wrong, she asked herself, what's within my control now? She focused on rebuilding her self-esteem, reconnecting with friends, and pursuing a hobby she had neglected. Months later, she told me, that heartbreak was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to grow in ways I never imagined. Marcus invites us to cultivate a mindset of gratitude. Even in adversity, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Gratitude is the cornerstone of resilience. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. Take a moment right now. Look around you. What can you be grateful for? Even in the darkest times, there is light, kind word from a stranger, the beauty of a sunset, the warmth of a cup of tea. These small moments anchor us, reminding us that life, even in its imperfection, is worth cherishing. But gratitude is not passive. It's a practice, a choice we make every day. The Stoics believed in premeditatio malorum, imagining the worst that could happen, not to dwell in fear, but to appreciate what we have now. Try this before you go to bed tonight. Imagine losing something you take for granted, a loved one, your health, your freedom. Then reflect on how much they mean to you. Tomorrow, approach your day with that sense of gratitude. As we conclude this part, let me leave you with a final question. If you were to build your inner fortress, brick by brick, what would the foundation be? For Marcus, it was wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, the four Stoic virtues. What will it be for you? The art of living, turning wisdom into daily practice. Picture this Marcus Aurelius, seated in the dim glow of a flickering lamp, his empire at war, his closest allies fading into memory. Yet, he is not dwelling on the chaos around him. Instead, he writes in his journal, steady and deliberate, reminding himself of truths that have carried him through countless storms. Don't waste time worrying about what others do or say. Focus on what you can do with integrity. This is where philosophy meets action. It's not about abstract ideas floating in the ether. It's about grounding wisdom in the gritty, unpredictable reality of everyday life. The Stoics believed that philosophy was not just a way of thinking but a way of being. And Marcus, perhaps more than anyone, mastered the art of turning wisdom into practice. But let's ask ourselves, how often do we know the right thing to do, yet fail to do it? Marcus would argue that wisdom without action is like a flame without warmth, pointless. So how do we begin living Stoicism? Not just reading about it? Let's start with one of his most profound insights. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Think about that. If your mind is consumed by envy, fear, or anger, those emotions seep into your actions, your relationships, your very essence. But what if you chose different thoughts? What if, instead of resentment, you cultivated gratitude? Instead of fear, you nurtured courage? Here's a simple practice. Each morning, before you start your day, take 5 minutes to reflect on the kind of person you want to be. Ask yourself, what virtues will guide my actions today? Write them down. Carry them with you. When challenges arise, and they will return to those virtues. Let them anchor you. But let's go deeper. Life is not just about weathering storms. It's about finding joy in the midst of them. Marcus knew this. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. When was the last time you truly stopped to marvel at the world around you? Not through the lens of a phone or the haze of routine, but with fresh eyes, like a child seeing a rainbow for the first time. Joy, Marcus teaches, is not something we chase. It's something we uncover by being fully present in the moment. Take a walk outside today. Feel the sun on your skin, the wind in your hair. Listen to the rustle of leaves, the chirp of birds. In that moment, let go of everything else, the deadlines, the worries, the noise of your mind. This is the art of living. Now, let's tackle one of life's greatest challenges: dealing with people. Marcus wrote extensively about this, often reminding himself to expect trouble. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. Harsh? Maybe. But here's the key. Marcus didn't write this to justify anger or judgment. He wrote it to prepare himself for compassion. He knew that everyone, no matter how difficult, is fighting their own inner battles. So instead of reacting with frustration, he chose to respond with understanding. The next time someone irritates you, try this pause. Take a deep breath, then ask yourself, what pain or fear might they be carrying? This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it reframes your perspective, allowing you to respond with wisdom instead of anger. Stoicism also teaches us to embrace simplicity. Marcus writes, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." How often do we complicate our lives with unnecessary actions and words? How often do we say yes to things we don't want to do, or fill silences with words that add no value? Here's a challenge for you. For one day, practice radical honesty not just with others, but with yourself. If you feel overwhelmed, say no to that extra commitment. If you're tempted to gossip, choose silence instead. First, this might feel uncomfortable, but over time, you'll notice a profound shift. Your actions will align with your values, and your words will carry more weight. Finally, let's return to the idea of impermanence. Marcus writes, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This might sound morbid, but it's actually liberating. If you woke up tomorrow with no guarantees of another day, how would you live? Would you waste time on petty arguments, shallow distractions, or meaningless tasks? Or would you pour your energy into what truly matters: love, growth, contribution? Each day is a gift, and with that gift comes a responsibility to live with intention, to choose what matters, to leave the world a little better than you found it. As we draw to a close, let me leave you with one final question. What will your legacy be? For Marcus, it wasn't his power or wealth that defined him, but his character. His meditations were never meant for public eyes, yet they became his most enduring gift to the world. What will you leave behind, not in monuments or accolades, but in the hearts and minds of those you touch? The art of living is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up each day with courage, humility, and a commitment to grow. The secrets to better days are not hidden in some far-off place. They are here, now, within you. As Marcus said, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if you will ever dig. So dig deep, live boldly, and let the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius guide you to the life you were meant to live. Now, reflect. What small step will you take today to begin unlocking your own better days?